Cell phone radiation causes tumors in rats, but what about humans? New research has found clear evidence of links between tumors in male rats and exposure to radiofrequency radiation. A U.S. National Toxicology Program experiment exposed about 3,000 rats and mice to whole-body radiofrequency radiation for 9 hours a day for up to 2 years. Rats were exposed to the radiation while in the womb, while mice were exposed starting at 5 to 6 weeks old. Rodents lived in specially designed chambers where a transmitting antenna subjected them to RFR fields with frequencies of 900 and 1900 megahertz. The study found evidence that exposure to radiation is associated with tumor development in the hearts, brains, and adrenal glands of male rats. Female rats and male and female mice also developed cancers, but it was unclear if they were linked to radiation exposure. However, NTP scientists and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration stated that the results of the research do not directly affect humans since the rodents were exposed to extreme levels of cell phone radiation, which surpassed the current safety limits on mobile phone radiation. Watching for more news on the latest in health research. All the more reason to eat your greens. We've always been told vegetables are chock full of good nutrients that have many health benefits, but the mechanisms behind them have largely remained unknown. Now, a new study offers concrete evidence that eating certain veggies can not only keep the bowels healthy, it also protects from the big C. Aryl hydrocarbon receptor, or AHR, is a protein that acts as an environmental sensor, protecting the gut from inflammatory responses to the bacteria that live in it. Scientists at the Francis Crick Institute at Imperial College London studied mice that couldn't produce AHR, finding that they developed gut inflammation, which progressed to colon cancer. The key to stimulating AHR is I3C, or indole-3-carbinol, which is produced when vegetables from the Brassica genus like cabbage, broccoli, or kale is digested. Mice that were fed a diet rich in IC3 didn't develop inflammation or cancer. Those with cancer that were switched to the diet also ended up with fewer, more benign tumors. The team now wants to see if the veggies have the same effect on people. They're hoping to do further experiments in organoids made from biopsies of the human gut and eventually go on to human trials. In the meantime, everyone should just keep chowing down on their veg.
Not exercising kills. Research has found that skipping leg day is quite possibly the fastest route to an early grave. According to a study published in JAMA Network Open, not exercising is more harmful to human health than smoking, diabetes, or heart disease. Researchers at the Cleveland Clinic studied over 120,000 patients from 1991 to 2014, putting them through treadmill testing and later recording mortality rates. Their findings indicate that cardiorespiratory fitness is linked to a longer lifespan and that there is no limit to the benefits of exercise. When compared to top exercise performers, the risk associated with death for those who are sedentary is 500% higher. The study concludes that a sedentary lifestyle is equivalent to having a major disease. The good news is it's reversible. Just get off your butt. Ditch the sweeteners. In recent years, sugar has become public enemy number one as far as health is concerned, prompting people to turn to artificial sweeteners. But are they really any better for you? Researchers from Israel and Singapore modified E. coli to light up when exposed to toxins, using it as a sensing model representative of the complex gut microbial system. Exposure to 6 types of artificial sweeteners, including aspartame and sucralose, had a toxic, stressing effect that made it difficult for bacteria to grow and reproduce. A separate study carried out in Australia looked at 29 healthy adults and randomly administered the capsule equivalent of drinking 1.5 liters of diet soda a day to half the participants. After 2 weeks, the amount of good bacteria in the subject's gut decreased, while gut pathogens increased, potentially affecting the body's ability to regulate glucose. But while both studies' findings are compelling, it's difficult to assess what exactly the gut marker changes mean to overall health. Either way, it can't hurt to cut down on both sugar and the fake stuff.
Immunotherapy wins against breast cancer. Women with a hard-to-treat form of breast cancer were found to live longer when treated with a combination of chemotherapy and immunotherapy drugs. Triple-negative breast cancer is an aggressive form of the disease in which cancer cells lack receptors for estrogen, progesterone, and HER2, making it unresponsive to certain treatments. Cancer cells can be treated with chemotherapy, but often develop resistance to it, allowing them to spread to other body parts. Patients usually survive 18 months or less. A new study found that treatment combining chemotherapy with the immunotherapy drug Tecentriq were more effective, improving overall survival rates by almost 4 months. In the clinical trial, 902 women treated at 246 medical centers in 41 countries were randomly assigned either Tecentriq and chemo or placebo and chemo. Chemotherapy was given once a week, while the immunotherapy drug was administered intravenously every 2 weeks. The drug deactivates a protein in the cancer cells, which keeps it safe from the immune system, while chemotherapy roughens up its surface, enabling the immune system to recognize and attack the cancer. The new treatment is currently being reviewed and may well become the first FDA-approved immunotherapy drug to treat breast cancer.
Beating brain cancer with polio. A new experimental treatment is using a modified version of a once dreaded virus to fight an even deadlier disease. Duke University researchers removed genetic code from the polio virus and replaced it with DNA from the rhinovirus, which causes a common cold. The modified virus is injected directly into the tumors of glioblastoma patients through a catheter. Instead of replicating itself, it attaches to receptors on the surface of the cancer cells, infecting them and prompting the body's immune system to attack. Of the 61 glioblastoma patients treated using the re-engineered virus, 21% are still alive 3 years later, compared to only 4% for those who underwent conventional treatment. The experimental treatment, like many immunotherapies, had varied, sometimes dramatic effects on the subjects. Scientists are still figuring out how to get the virus to produce the same exact results in different people, but are confident that it can be done.
Adolescents who give up pot show cognition improvements. According to a new study, adolescents who regularly use cannabis but stop for 30 days have better memory and improved cognition compared to those who continue to use pot. According to NPR, a study published in the Journal of Clinical Psychiatry on Tuesday found that when young people stop using marijuana, their verbal learning and memory improve. Researchers at Massachusetts General Hospital looked at 88 participants aged 16 to 25 who were regular users of marijuana. Participants were randomly assigned into an abstaining group or a non-abstaining group. Volunteers had their urine tested weekly and were also given a variety of tasks testing their attention and memory. Researchers found that after 4 weeks, there was no noticeable difference in attention scores between the two groups. However, memory scores for non-users improved, while users' memory scores remained relatively steady. The study concluded that adolescents learn better when they're not using cannabis, and that some of the deficits from usage appear to be reversible. Wow, that's some really groundbreaking research right there. What's next? How drinking impairs driving?